welcome back to my channel. I'm James. Today we're going to be doing a brand new episode in my very popular video series, Top Upcoming 4K Ultra HD Blu Ray Releases, Big Movie Announcements and Reveals. Now this video is number 13 in the video series, and it has been highly requested, and I've been amazed at the response constantly every time I release one of these videos. So I always look forward to when I get to do a new episode in this video series. And it has been a really fun thing to dive into all of these upcoming and exciting top releases that are coming out on 4K Ultra HD. And in this video series, I share a bunch of studio insider information, announcements, and big reveals of tons of exciting stuff that's coming out here over the next couple of months. Now, if you haven't checked out any of my previous videos in this series, and there's tons of releases in those video series that are coming out, and some hidden announcements that I always include in these video series. So we've got a ton of exciting titles to dive into today. Now, as always, all of these titles that I cover in this video series, every single one of these 4K Ultra HD Blu-rays, I link all of the links directly in the description section and as a pinned comment in the comment section right below this video. You don't have to go out searching for all of these. I've done all of the work for all of you. Those links down there are on sale for the same prices everywhere, and they never cost you a penny extra when you click on those. But those links down there do help to support the creation of videos just like this here on my YouTube channel, just a tiny bit. So make sure if you're going to buy any of these or you're going to pre-order any of these, because these are upcoming announcements, make sure to go down and click on those links I've posted in the description section and as a pinned comment in the comment section right below. Now, starting off here on August 22nd, we're getting The Nightmare Before Christmas, the classic stop-motion animated film from Disney that was released in 1993. This is coming out with a brand new 4K restoration. Now, as I've talked about a bunch recently, I am really hoping the same team that worked on the Cinderella 4K restoration for Disney is the team that's working on The Nightmare Before Christmas. I can tell you this is not an upscaled, it is actually a 4K restoration that they've been working on. And this is something I'm excited to see the quality of this and how this turns out. Hopefully it's reference quality like the Cinderella 4K release, because that was truly an amazing release. If you haven't checked out that review, you'll want to go check out that review, as well as my top 10 releases of the year so far video. I did talk about Cinderella in that video. But those are two videos. If you haven't checked out those yet, you're going to want to go check out those here on this YouTube channel after you get done watching this video. Continuing August 22nd, we're getting one of my most requested titles from Sony, and I have a little story with this one, but it's The Legend of ZORRO, the 2005 sequel of The Mask of Zorro. I loved both those films. I think they work well together. The second one I enjoyed just as much as the first one, and I feel like they complemented each other so well. Catherine Zeta-Jones was wonderful in it, Antonio Banderas, and I loved how the story continued in The Legend of Zorro. Well, I've been requesting from Sony for years to finally release the 4K release of The Legend of Zorro. Even though it was available digitally, I didn't want, obviously, the digital version. As most of you know, I don't like digital in any shape or form, because you don't truly ever own anything on digital. But as far as that goes, it's something I've requested from them, and they finally officially announced it. It is coming out on 4K Ultra HD, and I can't be more excited. Now, this is the standard 4K Ultra HD. They have not announced if they're going to do a SteelBook as of right now. This is the only release they're planning. I'm just thankful they released it even in a standard 4K Ultra HD case, because it is one of those titles I really wanted to have to complete my Zorro collection, because I've always loved both of those films. Make sure to let me know in the comment section below as well when you get done watching this video, what of these you're thrilled for and excited for. Are you thrilled for finally that Sony's going to release The Legend of Zorro, the sequel, Nightmare Before Christmas, or any of the other dozens upon dozens of titles I'm going to cover in this video? Make sure to start that conversation in the comment section below. I always love to hear from all of you. Continuing August 22nd, we're getting Hackers from 1995. This had Angelina Jolie in a much earlier role. I always really liked the film. I don't think it's perfect. It's got some clunky scenes in it, but it is enjoyable, and one of those films I'm very glad is coming out on 4K. And I can tell you it's getting a brand new 4K scan and 4K restoration of the original camera negatives with Dolby Vision and HDR10 grading. So I'll be curious to see how that turns out. That is coming from Shout Factory, and as most of you know if you've watched any of my videos recently, some of their releases have not been great at all. They've had some issues on them and numerous issues of other things going on with that company and studio. So I've lost my faith and trust in that company altogether, especially with the way that they've handled those issues by ignoring them and not communicating back or even replying when I've contacted my previous contacts with the studio. They're basically just hush hush, let's not talk about it, let's ignore all of it. So we'll have to see how that one turns out, but it is one I'm excited is at least coming out on 4K. Continuing the same date, we're getting Weird Science from 1985. And this release is very unique because they're doing a new 4K restoration of the theatrical and extended cuts on 4K Ultra HD. And it's going to have unique seamless branching of all of the different cuts on 4K Ultra HD, which I'm thrilled for because this is something I've talked about a lot recently about how Shout Factory has really dropped the ball and it's kind of just throwing things out there without a lot of work, doing a lot of things that have issues, problems with their releases, and not doing as good a job as they did many years ago. Well, in this case, Arrow Video stepping up and doing something very unique and nice on this release. They're giving us each of the cuts of the film, the theatrical and the 2 extended cuts, but they're doing seamless branching between each of them, so you get all of those cuts with a 4K restoration of the elements that are available on 4K Ultra HD. They're not leaving out cuts and only giving us the theatrical on one side of it. We're getting each and every cut onto the 4K Ultra HD. So this is an exciting release for that reason alone. And I am thrilled Arrow Video is doing that and is not cutting corners. So I'll be excited to check out that release as well. Continuing August 22nd here, which is a huge release date. We're also getting Elizabeth from 1998, the epic film. It's coming out from Universal Studios with a brand new 4K restoration. That's one I'll be excited to check out to see how that turns out. We're also going to be getting Promising Young Woman. That's the 2020 film that just recently had a Blu Ray release, but Universal is going back and they're releasing a 4K Ultra HD release of that film as well. And that rounds out August 22nd, but that is a huge day and date for a ton of amazing 4K Ultra HD releases that really shows you physical media is not only not dying, it is thriving and growing. We are getting massive amounts of big titles coming out constantly every single week. That is a huge day, and I am really excited for a lot of those titles, and I'll be looking forward to reviewing and diving into a lot of those for all of you here on my YouTube channel. Now, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to go down and give this video a like for me, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. Just like with all of this exclusive content where I dive into sharing you all this insider studio information, announcements, and reveals, you never want to miss out on any of this content that you're only going to find exclusively here on my YouTube channel. So make sure to go down there, give this video a like and a thumbs up for me, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. Moving ahead here to August 29th, we're getting from Kino Lorber 3 Days of the Condor. And I already reviewed this film previously on 4K Ultra HD from Studio Canal. Now, Studio Canal's release had some issues on it that I'm curious if Kino Lorber is going to have fixed them, if it's going to look different with better color grading. I did enjoy the previous 4K Ultra HD release, but it did have some issues that I'm hoping get ironed out and fixed in this upcoming 4K Ultra HD release. And Kino Lorber did let me know it is a new 4K scan of the original 35mm camera negatives, and it's going to have Dolby Vision and HDR10 on it. So my understanding is they're not using the previous Studio Canal 4K scan. They're doing all this work themselves. So it shouldn't have, hopefully, some of the issues that I had from that previous release will be gone on this because Kino Lorber is doing all of the work themselves. So this will be one I'm excited to dive into. I'll be doing an exclusive review here on my YouTube channel of that to let you know the quality of that release as well. Continuing August 29th, we're getting a massive box set in the Toxic Avenger. This is coming out with brand new 4K restorations of each of the films. Now, the film elements themselves were very poorly handled. They weren't filmed great on great film stock to begin with. So I'll be curious to see how that turns out quality-wise because, like I said, they were always kind of very low budget. I mean, they just never looked amazing to begin with. But we're getting the Toxic Avenger 4-movie collection in a big box set, which ranges from 1984 to 2000 when all of those films came out. And it's going to be an interesting release to find out how the quality is. Same day and date, we're also getting the 2023 film The Flash. And this is one that's going to have Dolby Atmos and Dolby Vision on it. I'm excited to check this one out. I did not get to go to see it in theaters, though There is a ton of things that I've heard about, which I kind of wish I didn't know before watching it, but I do already. I will say there's so many things from the trailer. If you've seen the trailer, I'm not spoiling anything here, but I am thrilled to check out Batman. Multiple elements of Batman in it, especially because harkening back to the 80s, what I grew up on Batman from the 80s, having his character brought back in the film is worth it alone to me. Just to get to see that element of it is to me worth the price of admission. So I'm excited to check out that film just for that element alone, because I absolutely love Michael Keaton's version of Batman from the 80s. Anything with him in it as Batman, I'll pay money to see. Continuing August 29th, we're getting Battlestar Galactica, the movie, from 1978, and this is the 45th anniversary 4K restoration from Universal Studios. And as I previously talked about, I'm very excited about this release because I've always really enjoyed Battlestar Galactica, the original movie, and then obviously the TV series that followed it. And I do see that if this sells well enough, I do see Universal releasing a 4K restoration of the TV series. It's actually something the studio has been rumbling about, that depending on how this does, we may eventually see a 4K restoration of the TV series that followed this. So this is an exciting one. I'm hoping turns out well, so hopefully we can see that come out a little bit later on, the rest of the TV series in 4K as well. Also from Kino Lorber on August 29th, we're getting Staying Alive with John Travolta from 1983. And this is getting a brand new 4K scan of the original 35mm camera negatives with Dolby Vision and HDR10 color grading. I'll be interested to see how that one turns out. I would never absolutely loved that film. I enjoyed it, but it's not one of those that I absolutely loved from the get-go, but it'll be interesting to dive into it again, see how the quality is. That's another big title I'll be excited to do an exclusive 4K review here on my YouTube channel, so that's one you'll be able to look forward to here on my YouTube channel here in the future. Continuing with the same date, we're getting Last House on the Left from Arrow Video. This is a brand new 4K Ultra HD release, but in this instance, Arrow Video decided to release the theatrical cut only on 4K Ultra HD. It will have Dolby Vision and HDR10 on it, though keep in mind those extended cuts are only going to be on Blu Ray in this set. So I'm not really sure the thought process behind it with a lot of these studios. Sometimes I understand the elements aren't available, but in this case it was available, the other elements, to have them on 4K. They just chose to put the extended cuts onto the Blu-ray disc, whereas the theatrical cut is what's going to be on 4K on the 4K disc. We're also getting the 2005 film Hustle and Flow from Paramount Presents, and this is number 41 in the Paramount Presents line. Now this is obviously a 4K Ultra HD release, and they are doing a new 4K restoration. I can tell you the Paramount Presents line has been getting much and much better as it's gone along. Their last several 4K Ultra HD releases that I've reviewed here on my YouTube channel, if you haven't checked out any of those recently, they have done a much better job. So I've been looking forward to a lot more of these Paramount Presents releases because they've been some very enjoyable films they've been releasing in these limited edition Paramount Presents lines. So I'll be excited to check out this one and see how this one turns out as well. Now, rounding out August 29th, we're getting Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, and Cult of Chucky from Scream and Shout Factory. Now, as I mentioned earlier in this video, their quality has been very sketchy lately. So they've had things where they've region locked their 4Ks. Numerous of them have been region locked. And they've had issues with their transfers where they've had a lot of black crush in them, which they didn't do as good a job with some of their transfers. So we'll have to see how those turn out, if they're good, if they're not as good as the first ones, how they actually turn out image quality wise. Those all are coming out on August 29th as well. Let me know if you're excited to get the rest of those Chucky movies and if there's something you're looking forward to. Now, all of these titles I've covered in this video, I've put all of those direct links in the description section and as a pinned comment in the comment section below. So if you want to pre-order or buy any of these, if you're watching these after the release dates of each of these, I've always put all the direct links from Amazon in the description section and as a pinned comment in the comment section below. As always, those links down there are on sale for the same prices everywhere. They never cost you, the viewer, even a penny extra when you click on those links, but they do help to support the creation of videos just like this, just a tiny bit. So make sure if you're going to buy any of these or you're going to order any of these, make sure to click on those links that I've pinned down below. Now, moving ahead to September 5th is one of my most excited release days of the year, to be honest with you. There are so many titles coming out on this date that I am really excited for. First up, we've got one of my favorite Tim Burton films with Johnny Depp, Sleepy Hollow from 1999. This is coming out from Paramount Studios with a brand new 4K restoration in both a 4K standard edition and a limited edition SteelBook. As you're seeing above in the artwork that I'm showing you from the cases above, you get two different options, whether you want the standard case for a little bit less money or the limited edition SteelBook. I'll put both links for either one of them in the description section right below, depending on which one you want to pre-order or buy. Though I will remind you, those limited edition SteelBooks do sell out, and then after that, you got to pay aftermarket prices. So if it is you're wanting the SteelBook, make sure to pre-order it in advance so you are not left out in the cold. Another big release is a favorite film of mine, The Princess Bride from 1987. I absolutely love the film, and if you followed my YouTube channel here for a while, I previously reviewed the previous 4K Ultra HD restoration by Turbine, and I did that as an exclusive review here on this YouTube channel quite a while ago. If you have not checked out this review yet, you're gonna wanna go check that one out. But this release I've owned for quite a while and I've watched it quite a few times. Turbine did a great job with this restoration. And I can tell you that Criterion Collection is not using this Turbine restoration. They're doing one themselves. I will be very curious how it compares to this current 4K Ultra HD release, because Turbine did a great job with this release and I already own this one. But I still want to know how that Criterion one is, so I'm planning on getting that in. I do hope to do a 4K versus 4K image comparison review, but it'll depend on if I get that in, when I get it in, and obviously what I'm working on the time. But it is one of those I'm very curious for because I absolutely love this film, and if it is an upgrade, I want to let all of you know so that way you know which 4K version you're going to want to own. But this one I've always really enjoyed, and it was a very good 4K restoration. So Criterion Collection has a lot to live up to. They have got to release an amazing restoration with a very high bitrate to be able to beat this 4K restoration automatically. So it'll be something interesting to find out, and hopefully that's something I get to do here on this YouTube channel for all of you. It always is something that I wish Criterion would send things early for review. That way I could guarantee it, but they simply don't. I've reached out to them numerous times and they always just say we don't send stuff for review to reviewers. So it is one of those things that I'll have to see if I get it in or I order it to be able to do this review for all of you. Another film I'm very excited about is the 1996 Matilda. And this film is coming out on a brand new 4K restoration from Sony, and it's going to be in a limited edition SteelBook. Now, this is another one of those things I point out, and it seems like even if I point it out, I'll get comments months and months later after it releases and it's sold out saying, well, why didn't you tell everybody it's limited edition? I do. I say it's limited edition. It just seems like there's a percentage of people that either skip that part of the video or simply don't listen. But these are limited edition 4K Ultra HD SteelBook releases from Sony. They do go out of print, and then they're very expensive to get a hold of, and they're very pricey, and they're something that a lot of the times people say, hey, I'm not going to spend $100 for a limited edition SteelBook, so they just end up missing out on it. Right now is the time, if you're wanting this film, pre-order it in advance so that you're guaranteed a copy of this limited edition 4K release. I can tell you Sony is pulling out the stops for this as far as the specs wise, because they're doing a brand new 4K restoration of Matilda with Dolby Vision and a brand new Dolby Atmos mix. Which I can tell you for Matilda, there would be some pretty cool scenes that they could use that Dolby Atmos if done correctly. Like, remember all the books spinning around the room and the pencils and all that stuff? If done correctly, that Dolby Atmos mix might be one of those reference quality releases if they do a really good job mixing in the height channels really well and moving that sound around. We could have on our hands a pretty darn cool Dolby Atmos mix on this movie. So this is one I'm very interested and excited to dive into and test and review here on my YouTube channel. So make sure if you haven't done so yet, give this video a like and a thumbs up for me, hit that subscribe button and that bell notification. Another cult classic film that's a personal favorite of mine is The Night of the Comet from 1984. This is getting a brand new 4K restoration on 4K Ultra HD, and I actually previously announced this in my Most Wanted 80s Movies on 4K Ultra HD video series. I announced that many months ago before the studio ever shared that widely with everyone else. And I got that information from my studio contacts originally saying they were working on it, so I shared that with all of you before it was ever actually even officially available to pre-order and anybody else had even known about it. In that previous Most Wanted 80s Movies on 4K video series, if you haven't checked out that video series, there's a lot of hidden announcements I've given in it. I did a part 1, a part 2. They're available to watch right now here on this YouTube channel. I give a lot of hidden reveals on that series. Stuff that I know is coming out that I've heard from studio contacts and things like that. But this is one of those titles. I announced this. I I think it was maybe 5-6 months ago originally that this was being worked on for a 4K Ultra HD release. And that's the cover artwork above, so now you know what it's gonna look like. And it's something exciting that I've always enjoyed as a cult classic, sci-fi. I hate to call it like a zombie movie technically, because it's slightly different than just a zombie movie, but it's got a lot of different mixtures of elements together with a zombie feel, I guess you could say. So that's one I'll be curious to check out how the quality of that turns out. Because Night of the Comet is getting a brand new 4K scan of the original camera negatives along with Dolby Vision and HDR10. So hopefully it's not one that turns out bad, and I'm really hoping it doesn't have a ton of black crush because there is a lot of darker scenes in that film that I'm really hoping they don't over darken it, because it'll lose a lot of details in the background, especially like at the mall when they're there at night and those details in the background. Man, I'm really hoping the Shout Factory and Screen Factory really don't screw this one up. Continuing September 5th, we're getting the film Black Hat, which is a Michael Mann film. I love him as a director, from 2015. Now, Arrow Video originally announced this a long time ago when I shared this originally. It got pushed back several months because Arrow Video is doing some more work on the 4K Ultra HD release. And here's why this is good news it got pushed back. Originally, they were only going to release on 4K the theatrical cut, and that was it. Well, the theatrical cut is not the best cut of the film. Even Michael Mann himself has said he prefers the other, basically extended cut of the film, better than the theatrical cut. There was more plot threads and things that made more sense, dialogue, that filled in elements of the theatrical cut that got cut down too much because of studio interference that cut that film down. He didn't prefer that. He had preferred the original way he had intended it to be. Thankfully, Arrow Video is doing a brand new 4K release of both cuts and versions of the film with both Dolby Vision and HDR10 on 4K Ultra HD. So this is a release where I appreciate what Arrow Video is doing, waiting to make sure that they can put both cuts on 4K instead of just throwing out the theatrical cut, which is not the preferred cut. And they're actually doing some extra work to give both cuts on the 4K Ultra HD, which I am very much looking forward to because I enjoyed the film, the theatrical cut, but I did feel it had some odd pacing. The extended, basically alternate cuts are much better versions, and if you've seen them, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They really made the film a whole different thing. So I'm very excited to check out this on 4K Ultra HD and see the quality of this one. This is one of those titles I'm really looking forward to in September. This is one of those that it's not on 4K, but I had to talk about just like I've done in previous videos. This is Picard, the final season. So Star Trek Picard, the final season. They're releasing it in a limited edition SteelBook, which I am getting that in, and that is one of those I'm excited for. I've gotten each of the previous releases in SteelBook, so season 1, 2, and so on, and I really have enjoyed the show. It's gotten better as it went on. I have not gotten to watch the latest season, which is what I have heard is absolutely amazing and stunning and really wraps up basically the original Next Generation crew's story wonderfully. I've heard there's a lot of tearjerker moments and just beautiful storytelling in it. I am excited and thrilled to check this out. I do wish it was released in a full series 4K Ultra HD box set. I really was kind of hoping they were going to do what they did with Star Trek Strange New Worlds and release it on 4K, or announce it at least. That has not happened yet, and I have not heard that they're going to release it other than this complete box set of Picard, and then with obviously the individual limited edition SteelBook set and a standard case. Now, as I said, I am getting the limited edition SteelBook. That's the one that I'm getting in. But you can always get the standard case. It's about $5 less for the standard case. Or if you don't have any of the seasons of Picard yet, they are releasing it, as you can see in the artwork above. They are releasing a complete box set of all of the seasons all together. It'll just be in one big case in a box set all together. Now, let me know if this is one you're excited for. I am thrilled for this one. Wish it was on 4K though. I gotta be honest with you, I was a little disappointed after how amazing Star Trek Strange New Worlds turned out. If you have not checked out my review of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, I did an exclusive 4K versus Blu Ray image comparison on that. I can tell you that was one of those reference quality, gorgeous looking 4K Ultra HD releases that really is one of those must-own releases of the year. And I was hoping they were going to do this for Star Trek Picard. But as of right now, they're not announcing it and they're not releasing it. So I don't know if they're going to wait to see how the sales are and then maybe say, hey, later on around Christmas, we'll release it on 4K. But that's me just hoping, because before, when I announced and did the original review of the Blu-ray series of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, I already knew they were going to release a 4K. And I shared that in the original review before I did the 4K versus Blu-ray review. This is not that case. There's no rumblings. They're not saying they're going to release it on 4K. They're literally tight-lipped, not saying a word about it at all. Whereas before, from my studio contacts at CBS and Paramount Studios, they had said that they were planning on doing a 4K release of Star Trek Strange New Worlds way later on after the Blu-ray. And this is not that case. So I'm getting the Blu-ray anyways because I don't know that we're actually going to get a 4K release of this now. But at least we're getting a Blu-ray release, and the Star Trek Picard series has looked pretty good on Blu-ray anyways. So I think it'll be fine anyways and a good release. It's just I would have loved to have the quality like what we got of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, but for Star Trek Picard, the complete series, that would have been really darn cool to add to the collection. But we'll just have to see. Maybe it'll be something that surprises us later on. Make sure if you're going to pre-order or buy any of these releases I talked about in this video, use those links I've posted in the description section and as a pinned comment in the comment section right below this video. Start that conversation down there below. Let me know what of these you're excited about. What of these surprised you? What of these are your top titles that you're most excited for that are coming out? Let me know what of these you're going to go down there and pre-order and buy. I always love to hear from all of you. Make sure to start that conversation down there below. If you enjoy these videos and all of this content that I work hard to create every single week here on my YouTube channel, make sure to join my Collectors VIP Club. It only costs you a couple of bucks, and that's less than the price of a cup of coffee. But that dollar that I get from that really makes a big difference in me being able to continue creating exclusive videos just like this. As I've said over the years, it's very time consuming and expensive for me to create all of this content. I don't just sit here holding up a case, give you a couple of thoughts and throw something out and say, hey, there's your 5-minute video. I spend time testing, analyzing, special effects, music. I even do some hidden things that a lot of people aren't aware of. I actually add in a film grain layer for myself as a cinephile that goes over the filmed portion of the video, not over the image comparisons. And it takes me more time to do little hidden things. I actually have a long list of things I do in my videos that if I were to dissect each one of them, there's a lot of interesting things that I do because of my love as a cinephile. I want to film things that give me the feeling as if I'm watching something filmed in the 80s and 90s. And so that's why I put a light film grain layer over the filmed portion of myself when you're watching these videos. Now, and then I stack all the special effects and all the image comparisons go on top of that, so that way that film grain layer doesn't affect any of those. But it gives you that effect when you watch my videos that you're watching something filmed on film. And that's just something, a little hidden tidbit about my love of filmmaking that I throw in to do something special on every single video I create here on my YouTube channel. And I've always done that. I've done that from the day I started this channel many, many years ago. So if you enjoy all this time, this work and testing and data I do on all of these videos, make sure to join my Collectors VIP Club. Support the creation of these videos because the only way I can always continue to do this is through you, all of my viewers and subscribers' financial support. I'm not sponsored or paid by any of these studios. I only do it through all of your support. I want to say thank you to every single one of my current VIP Club members. You truly are amazing and you are very important to me, and I really want to say thank you. As always, I truly hope all of you have a blessed day. I've always got something new, early, exclusive, and exciting coming out very soon.